Number 1, you're naturally very vascular. I love me a bicep vein as much as the next guy, but we all have that one friend who never lifted a weight in his life and yet has literal snakes crawling under him to the point where he looks like he's wearing a pinstripe suit. If you're naturally vascular without having to lift weights and grow any additional muscle, especially if you started your fitness journey fat, that's a great sign that you have very good genetics. Unfortunately for me, veins are definitely not my strong suit, so if you naturally have a lot of vascularity, tell me in the comments. Number 2, you have wide clavicles. Broad shoulders are arguably the most important aspects of building an aesthetic physique. If you started your fitness journey skinny and already have shoulders that look like this, that's a very good sign that you have the potential of building a top-tier physique. Having wide clavicles makes your upper body appear larger and makes your waist appear thinner, even if you naturally have a wider waist. I honestly feel bad for those of us who have very narrow clavicles. Having narrow clavicles just kills that classic bodybuilder look, even if everything else looks good. At least having narrow or wide clavicles doesn't affect the potential to grow muscle and get stronger. Number 3, you have a slim waist. Coupling a slim waist with wide clavicles is pretty much the best indicator that you have godly genetics. Having a slim waist makes your upper body appear larger, even if you're on the smaller end in terms of mass. Most importantly, having a slim waist really pops out the V-taper look. A back that looks like a Dorito makes for a very aesthetic physique, which having a slim waist directly contributes to. Number 4, you build muscle and gain strength very quickly. Sure, this doesn't really have much to do with your physical appearance, but if you're somebody who naturally responds extremely well to training, that's another good sign of elite genetics. Being able to put on muscle at a much more rapid pace than the average person allows you to max your physique out much faster. On top of that, you may have a higher bar for just how much muscle you can put on. Some of us can lift for 30 years with maximum intensity and still not be able to surpass their genetic limit for how much muscle we can put on, without steroids of course. Then there are the freaks that lift a weight once and instantly become jacked. I don't know how y'all do it. Number 5, you have long muscle bellies. When I'm talking about long muscle bellies, I'm talking about things like how long your biceps are on your arm. Not to be confused with muscle insertions, muscle bellies contribute to that round look, especially on the arms. This means that you have the potential to build a full 3D looking physique. Number 6, you have great muscle insertions. To piggyback off of having long muscle bellies, muscle insertions are just as important. The difference between having long muscle bellies and good insertions is that muscle bellies contribute to the fullness look, but insertions contribute to where the muscle begins and ends. Let me show you an example. Take these two bodybuilders, Albert Beckles and Sergio Oliva. Sergio clearly has long muscle bellies as his physique looks very filled out with no gaps, but as you can see on his arms, his biceps are quite short and underwhelming in comparison with his triceps, as well as the fact that his bicep insertions don't quite go all the way to the elbow. For Albert Beckles, yes, his biceps don't quite go all the way to the elbow, but to make up for that, he exchanges having a short bicep muscle belly for having taller peaks. You can also see the same thing in someone like Arnold. Now, this one might boil down to personal preference, but to me at least, I think having longer muscle bellies looks better than having better insertions. Number 7, you have thin skin. No, I'm not talking about being mentally weak. I'm talking about literally having thinner skin. Having thin skin means that your veins, muscle striations, and cuts are way more visible. It really makes your physique have that tight look to it and gives you that peeled look everybody chases. As somebody with naturally thick skin, seeing people with paper thin skin makes me very jealous. Number 8, you have good muscle symmetry. This one is one of the most important things that bodybuilder judges look for. Does the contestant have a balanced, symmetrical physique? Symmetry is not only one of the most important aspects of an aesthetic physique, but also physical appearance overall. The thing that we as humans find the most attractive in each other is actually facial symmetry. This directly translates to your physique as well, so if you have very good muscular symmetry, then you have great genetics. Number 9, you're short. I know, for us short kings under 6 feet, it's harder for us to find a Tinder date, but the good news is, if you're on the shorter side, that means you can easily fill out your physique fuller and faster than someone who's taller. Take a look at how this 5'4", 225-pound bodybuilder Lee Priest's arms look. They look extremely full and well developed, sitting at around 22 inches thick. Compare that with Larry Wheels standing at 6'1" and 280 pounds, still has slightly smaller arms at around 20.5 inches thick. Another benefit of being short is the shorter range of motion. People who are taller typically have longer arms, which means on a movement like bench press, they'd have to contract their arms down further, making the exercise slightly more difficult. On average, shorter people gain a lot more strength faster than taller people, in addition to easily filling out their physiques. Finally, at number 10, you already look like you work out. Take someone like Speed. He claims to not lift at all, yet he has the potential to develop an elite tier physique. I mean, look at his arms. Small? Yes. Developed? Also yes. Another example is David Lade. He started off skinny, but already has crazy muscle definition, and then managed to turn it into even crazier muscle definition. If you're somebody who already has very good muscle definition without even training a day, then it's clear you have great genetics. Okay, those were 10 signs that you have elite tier genetics for building an aesthetic physique. Don't sweat it if you don't have all or any of these traits. Even those of us with mediocre genetics can max out their physiques and still look crazy. And whether you have elite genetics or not, at the end of the day, the most important thing to do is to show up and train hard. You can have great bodybuilding genetics and just simply waste them by not training or eating correctly. You can also have terrible genetics and still manage to build a strong physique with the cards you were dealt. Most importantly, get it out of your mind that if you don't have an aesthetic physique, that you just look terrible. Social media ruins what an average common physique really looks like, which unfortunately is likely what most of you guys watching probably have, including myself. You're only going to get shown the top 1% of physiques on Instagram, and it's very easy to start believing that you look like trash in comparison to the best physiques in the world. Don't let that get to you. Focus on your own journey and becoming the best version of yourself you can be. 14-year-old me would probably shit himself if he saw how good he looked after a couple years of training. It's better and healthier to focus on the progress you've made rather than comparing it to somebody else. One last tip, be sure to lift logically.